Look at your phone. Now look at your laptop. There is a silent, multi-billion-dollar war happening right behind that glowing screen, and most investors are looking at the wrong map. Today, we're stripping back the corporate curtains of the FPD industry to show you who's actually printing money and who's just burning it to stay warm. This is the Great Pivot of 2025. Imagine a pile of cash so big it could buy every single person in New York City a brand new Tesla. That's roughly $12 billion, and that is exactly what China's tech giants are dumping into a single bet: OLED. They aren't just making screens anymore, they're building a digital empire. If you think the OLED race ended with smartphones, you're missing the biggest land grab of the decade. But here's the kicker: making more money doesn't always mean keeping more money. It's like owning a restaurant where the dining room is packed, but you're losing $1 on every burger you flip. In the world of screen repair and inspection, the competition has become so cutthroat that companies are practically paying customers to take their gear. The commoditization trap is real, and it's swallowing the weak whole. Let's talk winners and losers. SUNIC System didn't just grow. They strapped themselves to a rocket and hit 452% growth. That's like waking up one morning and realizing your small-town bakery is suddenly out-earning Starbucks. Meanwhile, look at the red bar at the bottom: charm engineering. In a year where everyone was feasting, they somehow forgot to bring a fork. That's a 7.8% drop, while the neighbors are throwing a 400% party. If you want to survive 2026, you need to stop thinking about screens and start thinking about brains. The bridge between the display world and the semiconductor world is where the real gold is buried. We call it the 4 pillars. Focus on high-end OLED, keep your team lean, jump into AI chip packaging, and for heaven's sake, have a plan for when the display market gets bored. SUNIC System is the special forces of this industry. They have a tiny team, but each person generates over $1.5 million in revenue. That's enough to buy a luxury condo in Manhattan for every single employee, every single year. How? Because they own the secret sauce for OLEDos, the high-definition tech that makes VR headsets actually look like real life instead of a 1990s video game. Then there's AVACO. They aren't flashy, but they are essential. Think of them as the landlord of the factory floor. They've locked in the biggest names in China, but they aren't resting. They're taking their vacuum tech, the stuff that keeps screens clean, and pivoting to AI chips. It's a classic pivot or perish move, and so far, they're dancing through the fire. In this business, being big is a liability if you aren't smart. Look at the gap here. SUNIC is a lean, mean, money-making machine. ELP? They're like a giant cruise ship with a tiny engine. Lots of people, not much speed. If your revenue per head is under $150K, you aren't an innovator. You're a temp agency with expensive machines. Here is the elephant in the room. 74% of the industry's dinner comes from one kitchen: China. It's a massive market, but it's also a risky one. When China starts making its own home-cooked equipment, these foreign companies might find themselves uninvited from the party. Dependency is just another word for fragile. This is the wow slide. We're moving from plastic and silicon to glass. Why? Because AI chips are getting so fast they're literally melting their connectors. Glass substrates, or TGV, allow data to travel 10 times faster. It's like upgrading from a dusty dirt road to a 20-lane superhighway. If you own the laser that carves these paths, you own the future of AI. Time for a reality check. How much grain is left in the silo? Some of these companies are growing, but their pockets are empty because customers haven't paid them yet. AVACO is waiting 92 days to get paid. Imagine working all of January, February, and March and not seeing a dime until April. That's a liquidity gap that can sink even the biggest ships. Smart companies have a plan B. These guys are taking screen tech and using it to build EV batteries, surgical robots that perform operations, and even robots that make your lunch. They aren't just display companies anymore, they're automation ninjas. If the screen market crashes, they'll just go build a Tesla battery instead. The next 24 months will decide who stays on the leaderboard. By the end of 2026, the great delivery of G8.6 equipment ends. After that, it's all about AI packaging. If you aren't ready for the chiplet revolution by 2027, you're basically selling flip phones in the age of the iPhone. The verdict is in. 2025 was about waking up. 2026 is about choosing a side. We're putting our chips on the bridge builders, the companies moving from displays to semiconductors. Avoid the ones stuck in the past, or you might find your portfolio looking like a cracked LCD screen. Still have questions? Or maybe you want the full-page data dump. Reach out to us at HDIN Research. We do the digging so you don't have to. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Because in this industry, being 24 hours late is the same as being wrong. See you in the next deep dive.